Hi, this is Granny Bee of Granny Bee Crochets, and today we are going to make this cute little ghost hot pad. But I'm going to use purple features because the black is so hard to see on the video. So what you will need for this one is the number 4 100% cotton yarn in white and black or purple if you end up liking my purple eyes. The gauge is not important, but I used a 5mm hook for this project. So go get your supplies and let's get started. Peppy's joining me for this. He doesn't like it when I make the video at the desk because then he can't sit in my lap. All right, so we're going to start by chaining 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so if you've seen my other videos, you know I typically just do a chain 1 on my half double crochet rows, but I'm going to be increasing the first few rows, and I've found that it works a little better to chain 2 before those rows, and so we're going to skip the first 2 chains, and we're going to start by doing 2 half double crochets in the 3rd chain from the hook. One, two. Okay. Now we're going to do 1 half double crochet in each chain going across till we get to the last one. So 1, oops, I'm trying to crochet through the camera. Try this sometime, it's not very easy. But I haven't quite figured out how to get that overhead one to work the way I want it. So we're just going to keep going. And like I said, Peppy likes to sit on my lap. Okay, so it's a total of 8 half doubles. Okay, and then in the last one, we're going to do 2 half double crochets. So what we're doing is we are increasing on each end of every row until we get to a total of 22 stitches. So we're going to chain 2 and turn our work. And so we're going to do 2 half double crochets in the top of this double crochet, in the top of this half double crochet. So there's 1 and 2. Okay. Then we're going to do 1 half double in each stitch. Going across. Oops, I did something wrong there. Okay, undo, redo. So we started out, our first row had 12 total. All right. And now this is the last stitch. It's a little hard to find. Make sure you get underneath the whole V on that end. We're going to do 2 half double crochets in this end for a total of 14. Chain 2 and turn. 2 half double crochets in the first stitch, and then half double crochet in each stitch across. Pepe actually kind of works for this. I normally, when I work at my desk, have a white background. He gives me a black background, which works pretty good for this white yarn. So in the last one, we're going to do 2 half double crochets, and now we have 16 stitches across. And we're working the ghost from the top down. So this is actually the top of his head right here. Chain 2 and turn. 2 half double crochets in the first stitch. Okay. Crochet across, 2 half double crochets in the last stitch. Chain 2 and turn. Do that until you have 22 stitches on your hook, and then meet me back here. Okay, I'm at the end of that row, and I hope you understood I meant 22 stitches on your ghost, not on your hook. So I have 22 stitches across. Now at this point, I'm only going to chain 1 and turn because I like my edges tight. And I find that works better. But if that's too tight for you and you can't find that last stitch, do 2 chains at the beginning of your row. So from here, we're going to work even. So that means 1 half double crochet in each stitch across for a total of 22 stitches on every row. And you're going to do this for however long you want your ghost. Now, having already made one of these, if you do 10 rows working even, it looks like a Pac-Man ghost. Really, really cute. And you could always make round yellow Pac-Man to go with it for a fun table decoration. I'm doing 15 rows on my ghost. If you're going to do more than one ghost, it is fun to make them different sizes. So let's crochet even for however many rows you want. Like I said, I'm going to do 15, and then we'll meet back here to finish up the bottom. Okay, I'm at the end. It turned out I did 16 rows even because I've already done the back for my ghost, and I need them to be the same size, and apparently I had done 16 rows on that ghost. The most important part I see is not how many rows even you do, but that the front and the back have the same number of rows. So now we're going to finish off. We're going to give our ghost just a little bit of a ruffle so it looks more like a sheet or fabric at the bottom. So for this, you want to chain 2. Turn your work. And in the first stitch, you're going to do a double crochet. So yarn over, pull up a loop, go through 2, and go through 2. And then in that same stitch, you're going to do a half double crochet. So put your hook in the same stitch, pull up a loop, and go through all through 3. All right. The next stitch, you're going to do 1 half double crochet. Okay. Now you're going to do 3 slip stitches. So you don't wrap anything around your hook. Put it in the stitch, bring up a loop, and bring that loop through the one on your hook. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to do 1 half double in the next 2 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3 slip stitches. 1, 2, 3, 2 half double crochets, 1 in each of the next 2 stitches, slip stitch in the next 3, 1, 2, 3, half double in the next 2, at some point I must have miscounted my stitches. That's okay. So we're going to slip stitch because it's not an exact science. You're going to slip stitch until you have 2 stitches left. Then you're going to do a half double in the first one. And then you're going to do a half double. Oops. I'm going to do a half double in the second one, and then a double crochet in the same stitch. And then to make this end look nice, we're going to chain 2 and slip stitch in the same stitch that you made those 2 stitches. Like so. And that makes your end look kind of nice. And there's your other end. And there we go. So it just kind of gives it a little, you know, kind of waviness at the bottom of your ghost. If this is the front of your ghost, you're going to fasten off. If this is the back of your ghost, then leave your yarn attached and we will continue on. But first, before we do that, we have to do the front of our ghost, and we need to give him some facial features. So, since this is the front, I'm going to fasten off. Since we are sewing the 2 together, you do not have to weave in your ends. However, I will sometimes just to make sure. So it's up to you. I'm going to pause for a moment and weave in my ends, and then we'll meet back to put the features on the front. All right, my ends are all woven in. We're going to set that aside for a minute. And like I said, I'm going to use the purple. Now, on this, I've been using Hobby Lobby's. I love this yarn just because it's one of my favorites. But you can use, like I said, any cotton yarn. This one, I picked it up at the Dollar Tree. It's called Just Cotton by Premier. I've used it for a lot of hot pads, and it's super cheap. It's like $1.25. Used to be $1, but it's $1.25 now or something like that. Still very cheap. Works really well, and that's what we're going to use to make the eyes because that's the purple I had. And I wanted something you could see on the screen. So find an end. And the features for the eyes are very simple. They're all 3 exactly the same. So you're going to start with a chain 2. And you want to start with a slip knot so that you can tighten up your center later. If you do the magic circle, you're totally welcome to make a magic circle at this point too. So 1, 2. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to be working in this very first chain you made, or the second chain from the hook, and you're going to put 6 single crochets in that spot. And it will stretch out. Whoops. Got to find that little V. There it is. Okay. Hardest part's the first one. All right, it will stretch out as you go along, and that's okay. We can tighten it back up. So 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Before I do the 6th one, I always tighten my ring up and do the 6th one on the other side of the knot, just to make it a little snugger. So there's 6, and you're going to join them together with a slip stitch to the first one. All right, so this little tiny little circle. And for the second one, you're going to chain 1, And now we're just going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch for a total of 12. So you want to now, but I do something a little differently. I'm going to show you what. So start in your first one right there where you joined. 1, 2, and in each one around till we get to the last one. And then I'll show you something I do a little differently when I'm working a circle. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, when I get to the last one, so it actually looks like you have 2 stitches. This is the 6th single crochet I made. This is the join right here. And a lot of people, they just do their last 2 stitches in this last single crochet and they skip the join and join it together. However, when I do that, it ends up with a little bit of a gap. So I do something just a little bit different. So I'm going to do 1 single crochet into that last single crochet. So that's stitch number 11. And then for stitch number 12, I'm going to single crochet 2 together using both that stitch that I just crocheted into and the joining stitch. So you put your hook in the first stitch and pull up a loop. And then you put your hook in the joining stitch and pull up a loop. And then do a single crochet. Now you still just have 12 single crochets going around, but you don't end up with a little gap right here before you join them together. So we're going to join with a slip stitch. And then the feature is done. Like I said, you pull on this to pull it up really tight. Cut a long tail for sewing, and you're going to make 3 of these to sew it on his face. So we'll pause here, go ahead and make 2 more, and we'll meet back. Okay, I've got my 3 features finished, and you're going to put them on like this. Now, if you want to, you can weave in the end on the back there, or because we're going to have 2 sides, and it really doesn't matter what's going on the inside, you can pull it through. So you pull it tight and then pull the strand through to the back side of your work, and then you can tie it later with the beginning, and that's what I'm going to do. So I figure out where he is, put my hook through the back, grab that little strand, pull it through to the front, or pull it through the back, I'm sorry. And nope, I don't like him placed there. Let's see. Like so. Okay. That's where it's going to go. And then get your needle. And you can use whatever method you want to attach it. You can, I'm going to use this one with a little bend on the end. I like it. I like a little bit of a 3D effect on mine. So I do the in and out. But you could also do a whip stitch if you wanted to. Especially if you're going to make this a dishcloth and you don't want a lot shown on the back. Then you could do the whip stitch and just pick up like just a thread like that. To pick up just a thread like that to stitch it on. And then you won't have anything showing on the back if it's going to be a dishcloth. But this is not going to be a dishcloth. So I'm just going to stitch mine on. Just like this. I just come up the next stitch and go down and just go all the way around, and you're going to stitch all 3 of your features on. If you don't like, get my other goes. If you don't like the look of the 2 eyeballs in the mouth like this, you can put eyeballs and maybe give him a smiley face if you want. Just stitch it on with a back stitch. I just kind of like the ooh look that he's got going on here. Totally up to you. Charlie Brown fan, make a bunch of them, put them all over it. If you've never seen Charlie Brown Halloween, he has a little trouble with the scissors and getting the eye holes on his ghost, and he has a bunch of holes all over his costume. All right, so let's sew on our features, and I'll meet you back here. If you have not already crocheted the back of your ghost, you want to go back to the beginning and crochet a back for your ghost, because the next step is crocheting the two together. Hi, I thought I would take a minute and show you what I do if I want to applique on a piece and not have it be real obvious on the back. See, I've done the eyes, and you can see where my stitches are and my knots and stuff. And that's okay, because I'm going to put a back on this. But if you're making a dishcloth, you might want that to be a little cleaner. And so I'm going to show you what I do. First, you've got that center yarn. You pull it tight and then weave it through some of the stitches so it doesn't come undone. Okay. And then we're going to trim that off. Okay. Then we attach this end. Make sure you've got the right side up. You don't want the part where you wove it in. You want the right side up. And you place it where you want it. And then you stitch it on very carefully, just picking up a thread. Now I'm going through the stitch, but then I'm going to lift this up and pick up just a thread behind it. So see, I picked up just that bit of thread. And then come back up through the piece. And then go back through the next stitch. Oops. And then pull it forward and pick up just a thread behind it. See, if you look on the back, see, it's not quite as noticeable. It's just mostly bleeding through the color. And you do that all the way around. You could also do, well, don't go back through the stitch you just did, because you'll undo it like I just did. Okay. Anyways, you can also do a whip stitch the same way. You just pick up a little, just a strand of the bottom, and then then pull it through like that to whip stitch it down, whichever way you want it. And then when you get done, you send your yarn to the back. And when you weave it in, you want to just go under these threads in the back, like this. And as much behind the piece you put on as possible. So if you do that, and if you're not sure, look to the front. If you cannot see your needle, then you're fine. And if you do that, your back will look a little bit neater, and the object will be more one-sided. Just a little hint in case you want to make a dish rag instead of a hot pad. Hi, all right, we're back. We have the front done, have the back done, my features are sewn on. The last step is just to single crochet them together. So you're going to match them up back to back. And you can use a stitch marker to hold it together. You can use a yarn needle to hold it together. A lot of times, I own a lot of crochet hooks. And a lot of crochet hooks, when you buy them as a set, will come with plastic yarn needles. I don't like to use plastic yarn needles for stitching. However, they are wonderfully handy for holding your pieces together. So if you're wondering what to do with these plastic yarn needles that you're never going to use, that's what you do. You use them to hold your pieces together. So in this case, I'm going to use a yarn needle right here. Oh, I hid my end in. There it is. Okay. I had tied mine off of me. Let me fix this real quick. Hold on. Pause for just a second. Okay, I'm back. So typically, when I know I'm going to crochet something together, when I make the back, I leave the yarn attached. But if you've ever designed a pattern, I'm here to tell you, first one doesn't always work. And that was the case with my ghost. I didn't like the way I did it the first time. And so but I had cut the thread. So when I took it apart and remade it, it wasn't attached. So if yours is not attached for any reason, it's not a big deal. Just find a spot and attach your yarn. And I just pull it through. And then all we're going to do is we're just going to single crochet around this, just like we did the gravestone. So we hold our two parts together. And I just put about, it's about one single crochet in the end of each row. It's not an exact science. You just want whatever looks smooth along the edge to put them together. And I usually just pick up a strand or two on each edge and work my way around. So, well, okay, there we go. So let's do that. Let's just go all the way around the ghost with a single crochet. As you're coming up along here, you might have to do 2 to get smoothly around the corners. And you definitely are going to want to do 2 single crochets at the end of your these corners down here, because we want to keep them kind of sharp and sticking out. All right. So what I'm going to do, because I started before that corner, I'm going to single crochet around, and I will meet you down here at the other end. So I'm at the bottom corner, and I'm going to put 2 single crochets. And when you're working across the bottom, and same across the top, where you have these little V's, try to get the whole V. It just makes it, I'm actually going to put 3 in the corner, I think. It goes over smoothly. And then make sure you pick up all the edges of your V as you're going across. All right, so finish single crocheting to the other end. Fasten off and weave in your ends, and you're done. And I think he looks cute with purple eyes. I kind of like him. So there's a little variation. If you hate working with black yarn, he looks adorable in purple as well. All right, thank you for crocheting along with me. And this was part 2 of the series. The third one is going to be the jack-o'-lantern and or pumpkin. Because the best part about jack-o'-lanterns, you turn them around, you got your pumpkins for September. All right, thank you for crocheting, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.